In this video, I want to talk about starting your facility in 2024 and being able to have a 6 to 12 month game plan of getting everything started. So if you're interested, make sure to stick around. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, my name is Serge. Welcome to the channel. To all my reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for all the love and support that each and every single one of you have shown this channel. I greatly appreciate it. And if you have not yet, make sure to go check out the God Made podcast on most streaming platforms. Also, feel free to go check out LegionAssistedLivingAcademy.com, where I teach how to start your own facility from A to Z. Also, if you're interested in booking a one-on-one mentorship call with myself, or booking a full day and coming in, taking the day to spend with myself and looking at all the facilities that I own here in the Phoenix metro area, feel free to go check that out at LegionAssistedLivingAcademy.com as well. And if you are a passive investor or a limited partner who has invested in syndications or looking to invest in syndications, make sure to go check us out at ValleyALFVentures.com. Or if you're an operator looking to potentially expand your operations and looking to lease other locations to expand your operations, or you're an operator looking to potentially sell your real estate and your assisted living business, feel free to reach out to us at ValleyALFVentures.com as well. And make sure to go check us out on Instagram at ValleyALFVentures to see what projects we're currently working on and what we've acquired and worked on in the past. So make sure to go check us out. And now that the housekeeping is all done, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this video. We're in 2024 now, and a lot of people have a lot of big dreams and goals, and that's typically what happens at the beginning of every single year. And hopefully this year, a lot of you have put on your goals to potentially start your assisted living business or potential behavioral health or transitional housing or developmental disability facility. There's a lot of different licenses that you can actually go and get for these types of homes, and making sure that you properly have it zoned and outfitted for these different types of licenses. But regardless, I'm sure you have the goal of starting your facility in 2024, regardless of what type of license it is. And so how can you get your home up and going within a 6-month period to up to 12 months? And that is what I want to talk about in this video. So what are the key factors when it comes to being able to start this type of business with any type of the licenses that I just mentioned is being able to have the location. So very first thing you want to do is find the location, right? And what do you do in order to make sure that our location will work well for what you're trying to do? Well, the first thing to do is market research, right? And do a market analysis of the different types of facilities that are in the area that you're looking to start, and being able to do a 1, 3, 5, and 10 mile radius research in the area that you're starting to see what they're charging, what type of setup do they possibly have, and how are they doing from a occupancy rate and also a vacancy rate. And that will give you a good idea if that area will ultimately work for you to start any type of facility, depending on what it is you're trying to do. Secondly is being able to have the capital and the funding available to be able to actually acquire the location or potentially lease the location, and then get the startup costs of everything going. So making sure that you have the funding secured, whether that be through multiple methods, right? That can be raising capital from investors if you have that experience and know what to do in order to raise capital. Secondly, you can go and potentially do a home equity line of credit, which is also known as a HELOC, or you can go get private funding, whether that be through hard money or even go through SBA financing. Now, each of those methods are going to have the pros and cons of if it's going to make sense for you. So you want to make sure that you have the right business plan, the right location, in order to justify what it is you're going to ultimately use and go get a loan for, right? A lot of these different types of financing and funding options can add up and can get pretty expensive from an interest rate standpoint. I know of a lot of individuals in the last, I would say, 6 months to a year who have acquired SBA loans, and now they didn't realize that there was an adjustable rate increase on them. And so a lot of these rates have gone up quite a bit. And so there's people who have 10+% interest rates on some of these SBA loans that they took out. And that is putting a hit on their cash flow from their businesses. And so you have to really consider that. And then also with private money and private funding, if you're able to secure some long-term debt, 5+ years, and you know for a fact that's what you'll be able to do, and then you can maybe either do a balloon payment or refinance depending on how you structure it. So that is what you need to figure out from a funding standpoint, and you'll understand how to properly secure that by having the business plan, running a pro forma, having the location, what it's going to cost you, and having a budget and a CapEx, capital expenditures, to be able to go and see if it's worth going and getting any type of these types of fundings, right? And then thirdly, you want to make sure that you understand the zoning regulations when it comes to your specific area and what they will require for each specific type of license, depending on which route you're going to go. Now, it can vary quite a bit, and that's why there's not just one way of doing anything. There's multiple different types of variables when it comes to getting these places licensed. For instance, if you're getting licensed for less than 5 beds, you may not be required to go and get a sprinkler system. You may not be required to even have to zone that property or apply for a certificate of occupancy. Maybe you do an attestation form and you pretty much are saying, hey, I've confirmed with the city, here you go, licensing, everything is good to go in that regards. And then there's other zoning jurisdictions that will require, regardless of it being a 5-bed, 10-bed, 15-bed, whatever amount, that will require that you put a sprinkler system in, that you put a fire panel in, that you go through the entire gambit of being able to outfit the home to be able to get it licensed. So these are all things you need to do in order to secure the zoning, but then there's licensing, understanding the different regulations. Now, some licenses will have a more lengthier process and a longer application process, and some licenses do not have such long application processes. So for instance, here in the state of Arizona, for sober living and special licensing is what they call it for developmental or group homes, the licensing is pretty straightforward. It's not as convoluted and complex as even assisted living or behavioral health or even anything within that space. The licensing is a lot simple, but it's also, the turnaround time is a lot quicker. So oftentimes you can go and get a group home, for instance, which would be sober living or DDs or any of these types of licenses, and get those licensed within 60 to 90 days, right? That's anywhere from 2 months to 3 months. Then you have assisted livings, which, it may take up to 120 days, which it could be the full 6 months. But being able to have all your ducks in a row by going through their checklist, by meeting all their requirements, you may get the application kicked back once or twice during that process, and that's pretty standard for the most part. But with all that being said, once you complete the checklist, make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Make sure the home is completed, outfitted as needed, making sure that everything is set up from a zoning standpoint, that there is no issues there. And you should be able, from start to finish, be able to potentially license a home, depending on, again, what kind of license you're going for, in 6 months, right? But then there could be other times where it may take up to 12 months potentially, because maybe there's some things that you need to change on your application or within your home, and that can delay things depending on if it's requiring renovations, a sprinkler system, a fire panel, so on and so forth. So these are all things you need to keep in mind when you are going into this business. I wish it could be as simple as, hey, I can have my facility up and running in 30 days. That's very unrealistic. Unless you're buying something turnkey that's already in operations and you can step in and start the change of ownership process, to do something within 30 to 60 days, is really unheard of. And to be honest, some of these licenses, you're not going to be able to do private pay, and some of them you will be able to do private pay. And so depending on what type of license you go for, you may be required to go become a vendor of some sort in order to start billing for the clients that you're going to ultimately be taking care of in your facility. And so that may take anywhere from 6 months to another year, right? And so these are all things to keep in mind. For instance, here in the state of Arizona, in order to do developmental disabilities, you have to first become a vendor with Department of Economic Security, and then you go and get licensed with our Department of Health Services. And to become a vendor can take up to a year to be able to become a vendor. And then it's another 60 to 90 days to get licensed, right? So there's a lot of different nuances when it comes to these different types of licenses, but ultimately that is something you're able to achieve. It's just a matter of being able to properly have all the information you need in order to make those decisions, making sure that you've gone through everything as diligently as possible, hiring the right consultants, hiring the right people to help you. And I still hire people to help with different types of licenses on different types of facilities and locations, and also to assist with different things when it comes to billing, whether that be with Medicaid or a different organization. There's a lot of different things that we can do and you can do in this space, but it's a matter of reinvesting into yourself, reinvesting into the right consultants, into the right people to give you that information. And so ultimately, that is what you have to keep in mind when you are gonna go into this space. And hopefully this video provides you guys some honest feedback and honest truth of what it takes to really get started, right? And if you are interested and you are here in the state of Arizona and other states, make sure to book a one-on-one mentorship call with me, and you may have some particular questions and maybe I can give you some insight into other things that you maybe didn't think of or maybe don't know of. So again, it's all about being able to reinvest in your own knowledge, in your own expertise, and continuing to grow that. So with all that being said, again, go check out LegionAssistedLivingAcademy.com and go check us out at valleyalfventures.com and also at valleyalfventures on Instagram. And I will talk to you all later. God bless.